Picture this, all of your design products in one place. You've gotten the lowest designer trade possible. You have ordered things easily and seamlessly, and the shipping is handled for you. That's Design Trade Service. DTS is your virtual assistant for sourcing and logistics. At DTS, they eliminate the stress of managing multiple accounts and orders. With dependable service and no hidden fees, DTS lets you focus on what matters: your clients. Elevate your design business effortlessly. Join now at designtradeservice.com. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today, I'm so happy to welcome Veronika Miller to the show. Veronika is the CEO of M2 Connect and the founder of several influential brands, including the Design Hounds Influencer Network, M2 Consulting Group, and the upcoming Design Trail app. Now, Veronika and I have known each other for several years. We've been in our each other's orbits for quite a while, but to our surprise, hers and mine, it's the first time for her on the podcast, which is a little crazy pants. Here's the thing. I have always looked up to her innovative approach to business and the way she creates meaningful connections in our industry. In fact, just a few months ago at KBIS 2025, I had the honor of serving as a Global Connect Ambassador. And this is a program Veronika and her colleagues created to help international brands navigate the North American market. And what that means in translation is brands that have products and services that they want to sell in the North American market, and they need to understand and know you, the interior designer, in order to do that. So Veronika works to create connections between those brands and you as an interior designer here in North America. And so I'm so happy to finally have the chance to learn more about her background and her perspective, and of course to share those insights with you. If you've been to any major design industry event in the last decade, chances are you've seen Veronika's work in action. From the Design Milk Modanis Talks Lounge to the NKBA's Global Connect program, Veronika has created some of the most visible and impactful initiatives in our industry. What makes today's conversation so special is the journey we'll take through Veronika's fascinating career path, as well as her opinions on the power of fearlessness in business, the importance of creating programs that truly serve both interior designers as well as the brands, and how Veronika has managed to stay ahead of the curve in an ever-changing industry. Now, before we dig into this, I want to know, have you ever felt like your client isn't just seeing what you are trying to tell them? You've shown them the swatches, the plans, even a digital model, but somehow they're still unsure. This is where Duke Renders comes in to help. Their 100% accurate photorealistic 3D renderings are like your secret weapon. They take your design concepts and turn them into visuals so vivid, so lifelike that even the most hesitant client now will say to you, "Oh, I get it." Think of the time, stress, and the revisions that you will save, not to mention the confidence you'll bring to every project. So visit dukerenders.com/Luann and book a quick intro call today. And because Duke Renders loves my listeners, they're giving you 30% off your first order. So, but the offer isn't forever and ever. You might be listening to this at some time in the future, but head over to dukerenders.com/Luann and see what a difference this can make for your business. All right, let's meet Veronika Miller. Hey, Veronika, thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hey, Luann, thanks for having me.
How ridiculously overdue is this?
Yeah. I like it. I like to be elusive. I want people to wonder, and I think we're
Yeah,
doing a very good job at making
I
them
think with
wonder.
5 or 6 years trying to do this, I mean, it's a
Yes,
little silly. It might even be longer for crying
I
out
think it
loud.
is longer, but that's okay. That's okay.
Oh.
Keep them guessing. Keep them guessing.
It's so funny. Anyway, here's the thing. I think part of what ends up being nice about it having taken us this long to both be still at the same time available to each other's calendars, is that I really have had a front row seat now for many, many years watching you do what you do. And it has been my great pleasure to watch and learn from you and to be a part of the fantastic things that you dream up. And you have brought so much opportunity and people and connections to my life that I am just like, bowing down at you. And I appreciate you so much.
Which I never understand ever, because the fangirly thing, it really works the other way for me. The first time you showed up in one of my events, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that, I was like, oh my God, Luann said yes. What do I do? What do I wear? How do I bow? Do I curtsy? And it was just so amazing. And then you came to me and said, oh my God, I can't believe you invited me. And I'm like, it's this perception that we
Yeah,
have
I
kind of
know,
looking
right?
across the fence. It's always, and social media and all that stuff really helps in kind of,
Oh, it's
creating
true.
these images that we don't know we have.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it was funny because that first time, now I'm going to tell the story, it was so funny. Like, I'm podcasting. It is probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there comes this email from Veronika Miller. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, okay, want to talk to you about like an opportunity? Can we get on the phone? I'm like, wait, what? And I get on the phone with you and you're just like, I have this speaking opportunity. I want to have you on a panel. And it's in New York City and I'm holding my breath for the day because I'm always holding my breath when a good opportunity comes. I'm like, dang it, please be available. And I look and it was on a Sunday and my daughter's best friend is getting married in Long Island on Saturday night. And it's one of those weddings where it's a weekend event. It's like, the night before and then the all day Saturday and then the big brunch on Sunday. And I'm like, oh my God. And you're like, what time? I'm like, what time is it? You're like 12 o'clock in New York City. I'm like, ooh, that's going to mean I'm going to get up very early after being out late and I'm going to have to miss the brunch. And this is kind of obnoxious. And I'm like, but I'm kind of going to do it. I'm kind of going to do it. I'm like, it's Veronika. Like, you don't say no to Veronika. Like, you don't know if she'll call again.
Oh, she will. She'll come begging, crawling, bribing, whatever it takes.
Oh, and that was the beginning. And it just, you know what? It impressed me. I have to tell you, I'm very biased about panel moderators.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to think it's one of my lanes that I do a really good job in. And, there's certain lanes that you're just like, oh, I'm kind of good at that. And you leave your mouth shut. You don't talk about it. But when you like really feel confident about a thing, I'm like, yeah, that's my lane. And I almost always with other moderators, I'm just like, I'm sorry. You just left the question hanging there. I'm sorry. You just changed the subject and that wasn't fully fleshed out. Like I'm just commentating in my brain the whole time, critiquing it. And when you moderated that panel, I was like, oh, that is some good moderation there. And you do it at KBIS often, you moderate panels. But like, what I love about you is that you do get to the heart of things. And so this is your big value in the M2 consulting in your company that you run, where you are working. I guess the way to describe it is your business development for brands, right? For brands and
associations.
And you through the business development that you provide them is bringing light and shine onto what they do and bringing designers' eyeballs to what they do. Would that be a fair assessment of kind of what you do? Talk to us about that.
Yeah,
Veronika.
it's a little bit of both. And I do thank you. I actually will take that compliment. I'm not very good at doing that, accepting of compliments business, but in this case I will. And, it has to be meaningful. For me to get involved in anything, I have to have leverage. I have to be able to offer something that makes a difference. And if not, I'll walk away from money all day long. And I do. And my team is like, let's not. And I'm like, no, let's, because we're not contributing something that they can't do on their own or that they don't have other partners for already. So I need to want to get up in the morning. That is the only mission in my life, is I have to look forward to my day.
Love it.
And if I don't, then I'm doing it wrong.
That's awesome.
And then I have to kind of go, time to pivot again. And that's okay, because the world is changing. So do we. So, but on that note, the reason why I come at this in my mind kind of honestly is because I come from so many different parts of the industry. Beginning with marketing in my very early days when I went to university in Munich, and then I got to lead as an intern. They made me run the public relations department for McDonald's restaurants, because that person kind of bowed out and they said, we need somebody else to run the PR. And I'm like, I'm 19. I can do that. How hard can it be? Grew up in a McDonald's. My parents were franchisees. So I'm like,
no way.
Yes.
Oh, how bonkers. That's a crazy coincidence.
My parent, it wasn't a coincidence. It's how I got a shoe-in deal in that agency.
Gotcha.
But my parents were the first McDonald's franchisees in Europe.
Oh, my goodness. That is so wild.
So I was 10 years old. And for the next 10 years, I was hanging out with parents who had no more time for me, because they're off to the races. They're expanding or building a market that had never heard of a hamburger.
Wow. How fun that must have been.
It wasn't fun. It was like, is anyone here? Hello? They sometimes there's so many stories. There's so many Veronika anecdotes where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to fly home on my own. Okay, bye. My parents had no sense of what it is like to have a child. I will say that lovingly, but
oh my gosh,
no joke. Many, many funny anecdotes there. But I grew up listening to sitting with my mom, kind of falling asleep in various restaurants with my head against her back, hearing her rumble about how to run a business. And
wow.
So yeah, my first gig was going to Munich, getting my degree in marketing communications, and getting into the, at the time, a DDB Needham subsidiary agency in Munich, who kind of had to take me in because I was the McDonald's girl. And
you were
and then they put
legacy,
me in
queen of McDonald's legacy.
It was a little bit that, yeah.
I can imagine if you're the first franchise in a country, like you're known, your family's known.
We were kind of a thing. So I got that marketing gig, and I loved marketing, and I left Germany because I felt really limited in terms of marketing, because it's very regulated there. And then I came to the States. Life got in the way, kids, all that stuff, running a completely unrelated business, totally, but very useful in terms of learning everything you shouldn't be doing. And then later I ended up on the design side. I got bored. I went back to school, became an interior designer first, and then NKBA launched its accredited kitchen and bath designer program at the same college in Orlando. And so I took that too. And then suddenly I went from being Veronika the marketing girl and the Veronika the small business owner to having my little design firm.
Wow. I never knew all of that backstory.
Really?
Yeah. I knew that you were a designer. I knew that you were a kitchen and bath designer. I didn't know that you were a residential, like a regular furniture type designer. But I didn't know all of that other backstory. That's so fascinating.
Yeah. So it came, I really did come to it honestly to understand the market from a lot of different perspectives.
Yeah.
So the marketing thing never left me. Then the interior design, that was good. I'm a great seller. Yeah. So I can sell the icebox to the Eskimo.
Yes.
And then the problem is now I have clients going way over budget because I'm making them dream big, and they're signing up. So it was kind of a weird situation for me. And then I focused in on kitchen and bath because I preferred that kind of revenue flow, and I preferred that piece of the business. But we did design build, we did everything. And then I needed to have cabinetry. I'm a German girl, grew up over there, was raised in Europe, and I needed to design with German products. I got on a plane, met with German kitchen manufacturers, and said, I need to be your distributor for North America, and not even knowing what that meant. And so
don't you love the crazy ideas you have when you're young? You're like, why not?
And it's the fearlessness, you know how Magellan went around the world.
Yeah,
you know that story.
Like, whatever.
Well, when he presented to the Spanish king, was it the Spanish king? Yes, it was the Spanish king. He's presented his plan to do this to the Spanish king, forgetting the Indian Ocean in his map. Literally forgetting. So he didn't know what he didn't know. Otherwise, he probably would have never set out to do this thing had he realized he had another 6 months extra that he wasn't budgeting for. And so nobody really made it alive. But that's sometimes why you go. You're like, oh, look, it's a cliff. How bad can it be? Woohoo! And off we go. And that's, so call it stupid. I'll embrace that.
But the best experiences come from it, right? The hardest lessons are the best lessons. And and it's also, don't you take away from it, because you might do crazy stuff like that 7 times. And even if 3 of the times they work, you're just like, yeah, I can do crazy stuff. Let me just try it again. Like, I don't worry about the ones that don't work.
Oh, and sometimes you come out of there bleeding and crawling and going, well, that hurt. Let's not do that. But you
know how not to do it again the next time.
You do, but I love to follow. And as I get older, I'm probably getting a little bit more cautious for sure, and kind of looking over the fence first to see how deep the drop is. But back then, I didn't even think twice. I'm like, yes, I need German cabinets. No one here has them. I'm going to go to Germany. I'm going to go and be their exclusive distributor in Germany. I don't know how to distribute cabinets.
24 years old. It's fine. They'll give me a
I got this. Come on. And they did. They did, because I'm a good seller. They're like, we are very impressed with you. I'm like, yes. What? And here you go. Here's these 2 cabinet lines. So I went back to the States. I called up KBIS and I said, I want to exhibit at your show.
No way.
I exhibited at KBIS, had no budget to do this. So in the back, in East Nosebleed, in McCormick Center in Chicago, where it was freezing cold because they kept the back gate open the whole time, wedged in between all the Korean brands, was Veronika and her 2 German cabinet lines, no joke, that we hand-built our booth. It was bleeding everywhere. I can't hammer stuff. I can't even hang a picture. So I'm building this booth, and the Germans are sending me these kitchens.
Oh my God.
And we were kicking, you know what, and taking numbers, and we were opening dealers left and right. So suddenly I was a manufacturer's rep and a distributor. Who knew? Didn't work well, which is why I'm doing today what I'm doing.
Oh my God. That is, I just love it. Like, there's so much in there, right? It's the confidence in yourself. It's the fearlessness. It's the, what we always say, it's definitely a no if you don't ask, right? Yep. So like, how bad can it be asking, right? At least you have the shot at yes if you ask, right? And so, and then just the gumption to put it together and do it.
I don't even know if it's gumption. I really think it's just like Magellan. Off I go. I had a great idea this morning. I woke up. By nightfall, it has a logo, and we're off to the races.
Oh, my God.
But you know what? It's not fearlessness. It is not fearlessness. It's doing despite fear. Because I'm nothing if not a scaredy cat. I will second guess myself 24 hours a day.
That's a great observation. You know what I mean? I have to say that is a really good observation, because even to this day, listen, all these years later, my younger years sound a lot like your younger years, just like, whatever, let's try it. Let's go, blah, blah, blah. And to this day, you're right. Like, there's a little bit more ability to see how deep it is on the other side of the cliff, right? Like, we've cultivated the years of experience of doing the things, and we kind of not only have cultivated an ability to foresee the problem based on the past experiences a little better than we did in our 20s or 30s or whatever, but your observation of it's not without fear is a good one. And I don't know that I've thought about that. It's the fear is there, but it's pushing through. Even when I think about Luann Live, I've done it 3 times, literally. Every single time. I'm like, oh my God. Is anybody going to show up? Are we going to do anything? Is it going to work? Is that going to work? Is it? And it's just like, and then you get there and you're like, girl, you got this. Just go.
You got this. You got this. And but you have to go through the process, because that fear is what actually lets you hone your craft.
Yes.
And it is what lets you walk through all the steps and makes you just kind of take ownership of the situation in a completely different way. Yeah. So because you have to deliver. But So it's really there to sharpen your fangs. And
Yeah.
so it never gets easy. It's not
No, you're
easy.
right. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It
Mm-mm.
just, you
Um,
get more tolerant of the risk.
mhm.
And like I said, I think you do grow in and understand better your gaps. And you remember those hard punches where you came out of the fight bleeding. And
Yeah.
you, at least for me, and I imagine you're probably very much the same, it's like when I get knocked on my butt, I don't just walk away. I
Yeah.
like sit there and I go, okay, what
Hmm.
could I have done differently? Where was the misstep? Because when you are constantly gathering that information, you still never have the crystal ball for the next
No.
thing you do, but you've gathered those hard losses and you mitigate them
Yeah.
now for the next opportunities, right?
Well, and also I come at everything that I do right now is that I'm not curing cancer. Wish I
That's
could.
right. That's right.
I'm hosting retreats and conferences, and I do business consulting for some amazing people. That's all great. If I screw something up,
Yep.
I'm going to go, wow, I screwed
That
that up.
sucks.
I
Yep.
owe you one. That's
Yep.
all that's going to come out of that. And you know what? I learned that in my first year or so of being a kitchen designer. I worked with a cabinet dealer because I wasn't set up myself at the time yet. And I said, oh my God, something that came in broken, that came in scratched. And they are so incredibly angry at me. And I don't even know. I don't dare answer the phone. I don't even want to look at my emails. I wake up in the morning and I'm mortified that something came in wrong or I ordered it wrong or whatever it is. And he said, it's a piece of wood. If you don't like this one, I'll get you another. It's a piece of wood. That's all it is. That's
I
all you're
love it.
selling. You're
I love
selling
it.
a couch. You don't like that one? Let's go get you another one.
Yeah.
And that's the fearlessness of putting into perspective
Mm-hmm.
what it is we do, which is
Mm-hmm.
on one hand very important, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not about any individual product or any trade that doesn't show up or that messes something up.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff is fixable. That
Yeah.
impacts your profit margin.
Sure.
So do better next time. Okay.
Right.
But it can't impact your soul. And
No.
if it impacts your soul, then you're really doing it wrong because then it's hitting a place of yourself that you should never be prepared to sacrifice.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're 100% right. I mean, there's a slim line for me between we've made a mistake out of negligence and we made a mistake out of we didn't know what we didn't know.
Hmm.
So a mistake out of we didn't know what we didn't know all day long. I say to my team, "Hey, roll with it." Same thing. I'm like, we're not brain surgeons. We
Hmm.
do a podcast here. Like,
Yep.
it's fine. Mistake of negligence. I'm still a person who accepts mistakes. I'm still a person that the first thing my brain goes to is, where's our lesson in this?
Yep.
Wind it back.
Hmm.
But the conversation will be just a notch more stern.
Yep. Well, and
You
then
know?
you add another process, and I have learned
That's
that
right.
from you. I
Yeah.
really have, from you and my friend Sherry Qualls,
Oh,
because I'm a Cancerian, right?
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah. Oh
think
gosh.
big, we dream big, and we're like, I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. And mostly my exuberance will carry something significant that other
Across the
people do
line. Yeah.
require a whole lot of processes to get there. There is that much strength here,
Yeah.
but it
But
makes my life.
duplicating it. So we can't bring our
Exactly.
strength every time and
Yeah,
we can't scale it if it's all in our brain, right? I'm the same
exactly.
as you. Like
Yeah,
our business, my business is so process driven. It's ridiculous. If you ever went into our ClickUp, like I think all five of us could just walk away and
yeah,
somebody could step in and just pick it up, right? But I don't know how to make a single task in ClickUp.
yeah,
I know how to click the status from,
yeah.
need Lou feedback to Lou is done. you know,
Hmm. Same.
I get the value of it. I would never run the business without it. And I'm all over them. I'm like, I'm on the weekend and it says, needs to be assigned writer. Has it been assigned to a writer? And Mariali's like, well, if you click on here, you can see that it has been. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh, that's good to know. But if it has been, it should be clicked to assigned to writer.
I would need you to send a copy of exactly this conversation to Sherry and to Sarah and to Florence, please, because I need to hear this, that I'm not the only one doing this. They sent me a blank Word doc and say, please just dump your brain on this document, and we will then put it in the
We will.
assigned trackers that we have in place that you don't know how to operate
That's
because you
right.
don't even know where they're at.
Exactly. And how awesome is it when you have the support of team members that don't look at you and roll their eyes like, can't you just function in ClickUp? Like
Yeah.
Mariali, Diana, Jose Daniel, when I tell you they're every day, I constantly have the feeling from them. Whatever you need, however you need it, we'll twist in circles back here so that you can just show up and work.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate that so much
Yeah.
because I know we need these processes. I know we need it systemized, but like I just left Nicole Heimer a message this morning. She's needing some approvals, and I'm like, I know it seems normal, but I can't understand it.
I know.
I'm like, could you say it in words to me because
Words.
I can't understand.
Use words, and the more sophisticated it gets, the worse it gets. I struggle with my remote control, and people say, "Oh, you can stream it on so and so." I'm like,
Yeah.
where's that?
Oh my God.
And why are the numbers and the buttons and the whole thing black on black on black? I can't even see anything anymore.
Vinny and I the other night, somehow our TV, he sat on the remote control and the TV went to HDMI 4 instead of HDMI 1. I'm going to tell you
There's
what.
no coming back from that.
He spent an hour and 20 minutes. I paid attention for 3. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get my computer out. I'm going to start doing emails.
I might go Kindle. Bye.
And he finally figured it out. I said to him, do you understand if I were single, I would never watch TV again until one of the sons-in-laws would come over here. I said, because I didn't have 3 minutes of patience to do the thing. And he's like YouTubing it and Googling it and all this crap. And I'm just like, yeah, dude, you do. He got it fixed though.
Honestly, that's one of the problems with some of the stuff that actually does get under my skin right now is because we're talking so much about process-oriented stuff, project management tools. What do you guys use? If we don't use it correctly, a piece of paper and a pen actually go a really long way to communicate what you need to communicate, because if you're not controlling it by using these apps, they're not going to do the setup for you. Garbage in, garbage out.
Yep.
And for me, that was always something I am a big believer in owning your process at all times. Understand what you're asking of people, whether it's administratively or technically. I need to know what I'm asking for, and I need to know that I'm not completely out there in terms of the budget that I'm going to create or the problems that I'm going to create. But I don't need to be the one knowing how to do it. And I'm very comfortable with that, which is also why as I get old, you become a consultant, right? Because it's like going to pasture is consulting. So now I consult.
I'll just tell you how to do it. I kind of remember how it's done.
I can just sit and speak and be a guru. No, but seriously, I have learned process against my nature because of listening to you. Seriously, that was a really big deal. And always, if you don't have a process, you don't have a business, you have a you.
That's right, you have a you. Exactly.
It stuck with me from that moment on when I first heard it. And kind of going through the exercises. So everything we do, for instance, on both our companies, and we have 2, we still have the Design Hounds Influencer Network and we have the consulting group. Both of them, anything we touch first gets a strategy plan, a little promo plan with the background, with the objectives, with the players, the data points of where is it, when is it, what is it, and then details, runs of show. Everything is in there so that if one of us dies tomorrow, it can transition seamless. And it keeps us, it's like a tiny little business plan for every single project that we stick to.
And I'm going to tell you what, it's so evident. Having been in the middle of multiple of your projects that you've run, it's so evident, the detail, and that it's all figured out ahead of time. And, I've never been witness to anything that you've done that has missed a step. And I'm sure there have been things because it's a business. But if I ever were involved in something you were doing and there was a step missed and there was an awareness to all of us that you're running the event with and for and all the thing, there's no way I could have, I don't care how small or large it was, there's no way that I could have anything other than the next thought of, well, you know what? you couldn't have gotten more planned, more, detailed, more executed than this. And that just goes to show you something can always go wrong, because you're not throwing spaghetti at the wall when
Yeah.
you
Mm-mm.
when you are working with Sherry and you guys are doing your NKBA and your Global Connect and your all the things that you do with KBIS and also with your Design Hounds. I mean, it's so well run. And that's the thing for me. It's like I met you all these years ago, and sometimes I meet somebody and I'm like, okay, a little bit of a basket case, a little bit of a you know what show, and all right, that's fine. And then there's other times you're like, oh, that woman is doing things over there and I want to keep in that orbit. And
You would
so, and that's the
ditto,
thing. Yeah.
ditto, and that's kind of that has to always change. To me, it's what's really important in the work that we do. I don't think I've ever taken myself very seriously in this context. Again, I'm just selling a piece of wood. If you don't like this one, I'll get you another.
Yeah.
And the same is true for our events. We want to make sure that they're buttoned up, that they feel right, that they provide value to the people that come to them. Even if it's a junket, like bringing a bunch of design hounds to KBIS,
Yeah.
it's paid for, it's great. The hotels are covered, the dining is covered, the
Wow.
VIP experiences are covered. That's all lovely. But I really need them to know that I need to know that they get something out of it, that they get business opportunities out of it. I need to have leverage. It's not just me buying people a trip or inviting them to come on a trip. There needs to be something. So sometimes I look for, how do we engage people in just conversation? Let's have a pajama party and hang out and really, really talk.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? I'm a
Yeah.
Cancerian. We want emotional connection above anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to hear who's in the room. That's why I don't like talking in front of big crowds.
Yeah.
Because to me, if I have a crowd of 100 or more, who are they? I want to walk around with a microphone and figure out where they're at so I can speak to them. It's hard to do with 100 people or more. And so I prefer small crowds to where we can dialogue versus me being a speaker. So I'm not a keynote speaker and I never will be. So that's just not something that works for me. I need to know that they're getting what they need out of it.
Yeah.
So I prefer like interact.
Are you looking to build an exceptional team? Our hiring toolkit bundle at luannigara.com/store is your comprehensive source for success. Craft compelling job descriptions, know the right interview questions to ask, and implement a thorough evaluation process so you get the right person. These were developed in collaboration with my cousin Eileen Hahn and based on her 40 years of experience in building exceptional teams, plus my insights from 1,000 plus interviews. Our toolkits are tested and proven. Whether you're scaling from 1 to 3 or from 3 to 10 or from 10 to 20, the Hiring Toolkit Bundle provides the guidance that you can use to plan your hiring strategy effectively. Go to luannigara.com/store and invest in your success by investing in the success of your team.
Stuff.
Right. And so let's talk about the Design Hounds a little bit. So you are the founder of the Design Hounds Influence Network, and there's probably really, literally, Veronika, thousands of designers listening that have never heard of it. And for those that have heard of it and have thought, oh my God, how do you get to be a design hound? So tell me about how it works, if there's criteria. And I'm also interested in that one part that you just said there, that when someone takes part of the Design Hounds experience, you're wanting to make sure that there is an opportunity for them that's more meaningful than beyond just, like you said, plane, trains, automobiles, hotels, and meals. So tell me what do you hope a design hound gets out of it? What is your objective for doing it? And what kinds of things have design hounds gotten out of it? And then go through to criteria and how somebody can be a design hound. And maybe you'll say to me, Luann, I picked them. Don't tell everybody to ask me if they can be one.
No. It actually, it's not super complicated.
Okay.
But we've been doing this for now it'll be 14 years this year that we have done the influencer stuff. So we kind kind of started pretty early. We started and had our first ever meetup. I'll never forget it. It was a tweet up because at the time we were all still on Twitter and felt good
Oh,
about it.
whoa.
Those were the days. What happened to that? But no business model in mind. We just brought everybody together at the Architectural Digest show in 2010 and said, we all know each other. We're all chatting online. Hey, you guys want to get together in New York? And the AD show said, don't use our name in vain. You can't even talk about us. We don't give you permission. It was that fun.
Oh,
And we did it
excuse us.
anyway with the management team at the show. And they said, we have no idea who you are or what the words are that you just said about bloggers. What's a blogger? What's a tweet? We don't know. However, sure, if you want to bring some designers, we'll sponsor the booze. We'll cap it at 50 and, knock yourself up. That not up. That would be weird. Out. So we ended up, kind of sharing this on Twitter and said, if you're in New York, come see us. Thursday morning, it was the morning after St. Patrick's Day in 2010.
Holy crow.
So we called it Marys and Mimosas because we figured everybody was going to be hungover, and they were. And he said, cap is 50 people. We'll buy enough booze for 50. 95 people showed up.
Holy, for a morning drinking event.
For a morning drinking event. Those are my kind of people right there. I knew I was going to be at home with these guys. And then we had a day at the AD show. We did some guided tours. They all looked at us like, what just happened? And that night we went to dinner and, Cynthia from the Daily Basics, which was a blog at the time, sat there with her father, not with us, just accidentally in the same restaurant. And she said, well, Veronika, that was an interesting day. Now that you have us all, what are you going to do with us?
Oh.
And that's where Blog Tour was born, which later became Design Hounds because nobody blogged anymore.
Right.
But that was the kind of as simple as that story. And then again, Veronika goes, "Ooh, that felt really good and yummy in my soul. So let's do that. Let's do this." And I said, "I want to take all these people from New York and I want to take them to London Design Festival because I want them to see London Design Festival."
Wow.
And my business partner said, "How are we going to fund that?" And he said, "Because I'm certainly not funding it." I said, "Oh, brands will be all over it. Airlines will give us tickets." He's like, "They will certainly not." I'm like, "No, they will. And we'll get big sponsors." We didn't. Most of it came out of my pocket.
Wow.
Some sponsors did climb on board. It was very, very low sponsorship. But what happened there was that line that the managing director of Victoria and Albert Bath said during our first event in London with all of our 17 American bloggers.
Wow.
He said, "You have helped us make sense for social media. You took the online visibility and brought it back into our showroom. This we understand."
Ooh. Okay.
And that was the other line. And after that, we got hired by KBIS. We renamed it Design Hounds in 2015 or 16, just because the blogging thing had ebbed off and we started focusing more on just design coverage in general. And to me, the Design Hounds are those that are in the know, that sniff out the good stuff. And if I bring to this day 20 people into one showroom, they all see something else. And that to me has always been about us capturing that and amplifying that.
Right.
That's what we do. We don't generate our own content. We look at what our people do, how they see the world of design, and then we run it through our channels and amplify that.
So the thing is, when someone is selected to be a design hound, what they are, so you're saying to the brands, I'm going to bring these interior designers, which you have vetted, and most of them are probably micro influencers. It's not like you're looking for somebody with 100,000 followers or 40,000 people on an email list. You're looking for somebody that just consistently is showing up, whether it's to an email list or to a social platform or possibly still blogging, right? And you're basically saying, you guys as the brands, you're going to fund this. You're going to sponsor this. I'm going to bring these men and women in. And to your point, Veronika, I can see that being a very truthful statement, that you bring them into a big booth at KBIS, like the Monogram booth or something, the
Mhm.
SKS booth or something, and they're all going to get enamored with a different thing. But
Mhm.
now these 17 designers that you've brought together are all going to go out to their network and talk about the thing that impressed them. And so that particular brand that's put money up now is getting splashed all, like the tentacles are just,
Gets this.
yeah,
And it is a deliverable. And we are so proud that after all these years, people still see that this is a reciprocal relationship. So,
yes.
as far as what you need to do, we're looking for good, innovative, original content.
Mm.
Puppies and kittens are great on Instagram. They are just not going to work for us. We need it to be design centric. It doesn't, I don't really, I'm not super interested in somebody constantly having a huge following because they share other people's work, even if we call it curated. Doesn't work for me either. Sometimes people mix it up, which is
Yeah.
completely fine. But we want to see what you do, what your personal voice is, and then we look at, is somebody really good on camera? Do
Mm.
they have a podcast? How do they get their voice out there? And we're
Mm-hmm.
looking for that originality, especially as we put a group together, to have a little bit of a mix of
Mm-hmm.
everything
Mm-hmm.
in terms of ages, in terms of design styles, design verticals. We really kind of just like to have a nice array of coverage. And then people do, when we invite them to join, it's always an application process
Mm-hmm.
because we want them to care about coming.
They have
We're
to
not just
understand
going
the
to pick.
agreements. Yeah.
Yeah. So we write it out there, we announce it and say, you can apply right here, fill out this form, tell us why you should go. And then we go through. It's very, very difficult for us to
I can't even
narrow it
imagine it.
down
I can't even
to
imagine
those
it.
people because so many people are
I
so
can't even
deserving
imagine it.
and so good. So but it's a lot of fun. And, we always tell people just, now the hashtag thing is becoming very difficult, if not impossible.
Yeah.
So we'll have to come up with something, at least tag us at Design Hounds so we know you exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then designhounds.com, you sign up you apply to
Yeah.
be a design hound. And what we look for there is, again, do you have a design centric presence on your social media platforms? Is your website legit? Are you legit? Obviously, you can't be an agency, you can't be a brand, you can't be a vendor because that defeats the purpose.
Right.
So it's a clean list, and we go through our lists of participants and partners that are in our Design House Facebook group and in our mailing lists. We vet that constantly because people retire, people
Yes.
change, people become business coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need to decide, is that still a good fit for us? So our target groups are never tens of thousands.
No.
I don't care about that. It's thousands, but they're solid.
Right.
And
And it could
that's,
be 3,000. It doesn't have to be
yeah,
9,000. I mean, that's
exactly.
one thing that I have noticed, the many opportunities that I've been able to interact with your design hounds, whether it's boots on the ground at KBIS or, when you invited me to speak to them and so forth. When I look around the room, they're regular people. They're regular people. There's no divas. There's no like, oh my God, you're like a iconic, yada yada. Not that there's nothing wrong about being iconic. You've worked very hard to create like 100,000 followers and all that. But it really, I have had my chairman of the boards, and they're like, oh, one time I had a chairman of the board and she said, I would love to be part of that. And I was like, go apply.
Hmm.
And, I don't know. I'm like, go apply. She's looking for regular, genuine humans, designers who work in the industry,
Yeah.
that this is what
Yeah.
you do. It's not a passing fling. You didn't decorate your house and now you're a designer. Not that you can't decorate your house and become a designer. I've interviewed many people, but like a minute past that, right? Like a
Yeah.
minute, you've got some real life
Yeah.
experience. And so that when you are at KBIS with Design Hounds, you like I walk around KBIS and I don't see anything. Like, I don't see anything. Like,
Same.
it's just too much.
Yep.
It's like, okay, there's another amazing, sink and another amazing mirror, but I don't have any filter for deciding if that one's better than that one or if that one is more innovative. I don't have the slightest idea. And thank God, because I don't have the slightest desire to have
Yep.
to cultivate that.
To add that too.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I know that that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that expertise. When I walk through as a designer, KBiz, when something sticks out to me, there's a reason it sticks out to me, right?
Yep.
There's a reason as a designer that that's a cool thing to
Yep.
bring back to my contractor, to my client, to my team, whatever it is. It's that critical analytical thinking, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what they do. And they do that organically, and they've done it for 14 years. And we're
Mm-hmm.
so proud of that and
Mm-hmm.
grateful to that community. And they
Mm-hmm.
see themselves as a community. But part of that is really, again, because we're looking at what are those opportunities? What else can we give? And oftentimes I sit at my desk here, and it's like the loose ends desk. And I'm like, you need this, you need that. You shall meet. And it's easy for me because it solves a problem. I don't get paid for that. I
Right.
don't want to get paid for that. I like that there's an organic mission in what I do. And it's very often just a gut level. And I would never, ever in my life take credit for anybody's rise to stardom in the design industry. But we've certainly had our hands in
Yeah.
with some people early on. I think probably Ariane Belizaire wouldn't mind me mentioning her name because she says this about us a lot.
Yeah.
I remember when Ariane, I invited her to Design Hounds, and she was like, oh my God, I got to go on Design Hounds at KBiz. Gosh, this was years ago. And we're at an event, and my phone rings, and it's the agency for Tile of Spain. And she says, hey, you got to help me out, man. Lost one of our guys. It's like in 4 days, 3 days, 4 days from now, this trip to Spain. I need one more designer. Do you have anybody you think would be good? And I didn't know Ariane at all. I just knew that she was so flamboyant and
Yes. And confident
outspoken
on
and
camera.
confident. And
Yes.
this was even
Smart.
pre-camera. This was
Yeah.
really early days.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I like that one. I
Yes.
really like that one because she's just so
Genuine
enthusiastic
too.
and genuine. And
Loving.
so I was standing right behind her. She's listening to this thing and taking notes on her phone and doing her job. And I said, hey, you. And she's like, what? I said, do you have any interest in going to Spain on Saturday? And she's like, say that one more time. And I said, I have this opportunity and it's on the phone right now. She said, let me call my dad. Not my dad, my husband. Let me call my husband because the kids,
Yeah.
And she, hour later, she comes to me. She's like, let's do it.
We're good.
And it's the showing up. It's the saying yes. So I didn't create anything for anybody in my mind, but it is this being a catalyst for the yes people in this world that then kind of say, I'm going to run with this baby.
Yeah.
And that then kind of avalanches. When we did the work that we did for DXV, the luxury brand.
Oh, I remember that in New York too. Yeah.
Did the DXV design panel. That was a 5-year campaign for those guys.
Wow.
And, they said, well, which designers? They wanted to hire an HGTV personality as a spokesperson for the brand. I said, you don't if you want to actually reach designers.
Right. If you want their respect, right?
Yeah. So use people that are in the trenches that actually that need to be celebrated, that need to be raised up. So they said, well, who do you think we should use? And out of that 1 hour meeting in New Jersey came the DXV design panel with Susan Sarah, Cheryl Clendenin, Meredith Heron. I forget now.
Wasn't Corey Damon on? He was one
Corey
of the DXV
was like
a couple of years later.
Third year, Corey Damon Jenkins was part of it. Richard Anaskevich,
yes,
Beth Totola and Carolina Gentry, Susan Jameson, Regina Sturrock. I mean, and it was such a lineup, and that I am so proud of, because I got to sort of creative direct this thing.
Yeah.
And they built these projects in their studio in Minneapolis and then turn it into this big photo shoot and later into their national ad campaign.
Yeah.
And it that was a leg up for people. And it just hadn't been done with people that all super talented and many on their way, if not already very much on top of their game. Mm-hmm. But it was just another lift.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we can give a lift, or we can say, hey, I got to connect you into this. And that's on the Design Hound side. But from your experience, the same thing is true with our consulting side
Mm-hmm.
and our advisors, for instance, around the NKBA.
Yep.
It's about, again, saying, we don't want you. We want you to introduce you, and then we want you to run with the opportunity.
Right.
People will come to me and say, can I bring my own business cards to this event as well? Or should I just have it like a Design Hounds shirt? And I'm like, no, go. Take your business card, take that thing, take that introduction to that CEO, and now run with it.
Yes.
That
That's the thing.
makes sense.
You're opening from the other side, from the designer side. It's an opportunity to meet some of the C-suite of these different brands and companies that are sponsoring, that are on the tour when you go. And it's just, if nothing else, it makes you realize that it's funny because I remember interviewing Ren Miller within the first 2 or 3 months of the podcast. And he's the editor of Design New Jersey, a regional magazine here. And Ren and I had been kind of in each other's world because of WindowWorks, with WindowWorks being published once or twice, either on our own or through a designer. And so I knew him, but I didn't know him well. And I asked him if he would be on the show. And I had this aha moment at one point during the show when he was describing what he's looking for in pitches from interior designers who want to be in Design New Jersey, which is a really good design magazine. It is design centric and is geared toward consumers. So a lot of the high net worth individuals in New Jersey will go to Design New Jersey to look at the work and to start the vetting process to hire a designer. But all of a sudden comes the aha, and he's talking about the pitch process and what he wants and this and that and the other thing. But then there was this line that was like, because I've got to fill this magazine every issue, and I need these pitches, and if they come to me this way, and I was just like, oh, right. You need us.
Need them. You need us.
Yeah, it was just like, whoa, we're all like, oh, and I can't tell you every chairman of the board I have, I'm just like, yeah, go pitch Ren, go pitch Ren. Like, he's looking for the good ones, right? And so it's the same thing. It's like when you sit and talk with the C-suite of SKS or Monogram or whoever else you introduce the Design Hounds to, you're just like, oh, right. They have this big company, but if I don't specify their product, they don't sell anything. They need me, right?
It's really important to kind of, one of my biggest things is whenever I write a proposal and whenever I ask people to kind of come up with proposals for us, what's in it for me? What's in it for them?
Right.
What's in it? What am I selling here? Am I selling what I want to sell? That's going to miss the mark more often than not. So I have to look at, what does an SKS need? What does the NKBA actually need to get out of that? What are those key objectives? And now how am I going to deliver on that?
Right.
So it's not about a package and this is what we do and you can have a logo and a step and repeat and whatever. We now figure out, how do we get you exactly what your goals are, and sometimes how do we help you define those goals, because it's not always completely clear,
right?
What the goals ought to be, even for a brand. And one of our biggest conversations with the brand on the brand side is, do not underestimate the people in the room.
Yeah,
they look pretty and they dress pretty, but they're
savvy, giggling a lot because you keep giving them wine. But
and they love the pretty, but do not mess with the wrong crowd here. They are savvy business people. They know their business. They are a potentially good and very serious partner for your company in terms of consulting with you, in terms of being involved in R&D, in telling you what works and what doesn't. So, and do not use the word exposure with any of them ever, because it's the other way around. And you're not the opportunity. They are.
That's interesting. So, that's great that you present it that way. That's the value of it, right? And the thing is, what it is all the interactions I've had with you, it's true. You truly do value the expertise and experience of the educated, well-run design business owner. Like you get it, and
Yeah.
you don't minimize them and what they bring to the table. And I love that
Yeah.
you see the true whole
I
entity.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's just a basic form of respect,
Mm-hmm.
and you give that until somebody proves you wrong,
Right.
and then you kind of go, oh, well, I didn't see that coming. But the other side is true too, and when we talk to designers and we go to a sponsored event, then we tell them this is not about you just showing up. I am not
Yes,
in the
not fluff.
I'm not in the butts and seats business.
No.
I don't care if there's 10 of you or of 100 of you, but if there's 10 of you, you better mean it.
Yeah.
And so it's the other way around too, because, you know, there's so many brand events that
Mm-hmm.
are flashes and pans because
Mm-hmm.
nobody thought about what do we actually need to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about, it is kind of a transactional thing of how many people were there. Who
Mm-hmm.
cares? What does that
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Right.
What
What's your ROI of it, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
the ROI is not in numbers of bodies. The ROI is how much are they going to
The
specify
impact.
you?
Mm-hmm.
Are they re-specifying other projects that they've already used something else for and going back and going, this was really helpful.
Yeah.
So same thing. So we look to our design hounds and say, when we invite you, especially when it's a fully sponsored gig or a paid opportunity where we pay you to go and cover a showroom opening or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
which is a shared rev thing for us with
Mm-hmm.
the designers, we do that too. But
Mm-hmm.
then it's a business deal.
Yeah.
And then you have a deliverable, and Florence is no joke when it comes to following up on deliverables
Yeah.
because that's what's agreed on.
Yeah.
And, I have to be able to show my face, and it's been showing itself for 14 years in this industry, and I have to feel good about
Yes,
what
you
we
have to know
deliver.
that what you say is going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's the thing is, I've always noticed all of the design hounds taking it seriously. I mean,
Mhm.
this past KBIS in 2025, I spent about 2 hours walking with Claire Jefford
Mhm.
and Megan Daughtry. I think her last
Yep.
name is Daughtry.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
And I spent about 2 hours walking the show floor with them because I was in between commitments, and Claire and I wanted to catch up, and Megan as well. And their conversation, like I'm tagging along, and they're like, here's Claire going, well, I want to get to this thing and I want to get to that. Like she was, their agenda for that 2 hours that I spent with them anyway was, we had been brought to these XYZ places yesterday or that morning. And she said, but now I want to go back and get
Want to
good
dig my
content.
heels in. Yep.
Yep. I'm going to go in, and now it's the party event around it is over, and there's a couple things. And, I had so much respect for the two of them,
Yep.
because they are just like, yeah, this is part of what we do when we're
Yep.
here.
And
Yeah.
not just that, the support I get from so many of these guys year round
Yeah.
when I'm not asking for it and they're not. Claire reaches out to me all the time when
She's a
she sees
great
us
egg.
posting something and says, "Can I put that in my community?"
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
has no reason. She has a great and engaged community.
Yes.
That's worth money to brands, and she will volunteer that. Cheryl does the same thing. There's
Yeah.
just this core group of people that just empower each other, and I
Yeah.
feel so honored and privileged to be part of that group.
Yeah.
That's kind of how business works. And sometimes you take a hit
Mm-hmm.
financially, and other times you do well, and it's okay. But it's a constantly moving flow. It's a river of camaraderie and support and business development and ideas, and it never stops. I never stop. And people go, how do you do it all? And I'm like, I can't not do it all
Right. It's
because
fun.
it's my nature.
Yeah.
So we all just kind of flows through this, and something hits me, and then I run to everybody else and say, what do you think? Just like we were talking about earlier behind the scenes about doing things in the UK and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of, it just comes out of conversation, and then suddenly we all find ourselves wobbling over to the next level and the next level.
Yeah.
And that keeps us relevant, and it keeps us connected, which isn't always easy to do for individual corporate entities, brands and associations alike.
Mm-hmm.
So they look to us to kind of be that agile and that fluid to bring
Mm-hmm.
back
Mm-hmm.
all the good stuff that's going on.
Yep. Now, before I let you go, I want to just give a few minutes conversation to the consulting that you do for the
Mhm,
NKBA
mhm.
and how you have developed with them or for them. I'm not really sure whose idea. If I know you, it was probably your idea, or you and Sherry, right? Um, for the Global Connect. And the point of the Global Connect is that you are actively in the international community finding these brands that have products that you believe are good quality products and that interior designers and the decor industry in the North American market should know about them. And you have set up the NKBA Global Connect where these international brands join, and then you've got some of us as ambassadors that we can be as advisors to them if they have questions on our area of expertise. But the thing that I want to focus on for this couple of minutes before I let you go is pointing out to designers that do attend KBIS to make sure they make it to the Global Connect Lounge, that
Mm,
you are on the show floor and you are running programming. And this past, I've had the opportunity to be on a panel with you there where I've been the panel, but then this past market, you asked me to do the speed dating intro for
mhm.
like 7 international brands to the audience of the people that were there and let them just tell us what they do and then let us ask questions. And I found it insanely interesting. I
Mhm.
was just like, to hear the way international companies process what they do, the ideas that they bring to it that are not the same as the way we do things, and then to hear the kind of questions that the American interior designers were having about the ability to work with these international companies. So give us a few minutes on that because I want to encourage next year we're in Orlando for
Right.
KBIS, but I want people to understand this is not like, oh, I don't need to do that. They should make time to come to these.
Yeah. First of all, first and foremost, as the market gets a little bit weird, and could be doing just that in the next year to 18 months, okay. Um, Creating custom products and sourcing internationally and antiques and vintage wherever possible is a really, really great idea because you want to safeguard that profit margin. And those are the places where you can do that most
Mm,
easily.
mm,
So international is a big, big part of everything we should all consider. And we have to look beyond our borders, not because we don't love American made. I encourage the American makers to look internationally and see what's happening. It's a big market. People have Instagram now.
yeah.
It's new. And people see stuff and they're influenced to buy stuff, and they'll either buy it in North America or they'll buy it elsewhere. So those barriers are gone, those borders are gone, and that's great. So, and NKBA came to us years ago, had kicked around internationalization for way before my tenure there, and but didn't know, did that mean international chapters? Did it mean international education? That doesn't work because the whole rest of the world does kitchens and baths very differently from what
Right.
we do in the States, so that would never fit. So we came to a place in 2016 where we got brought on board and said, let's just go listen. Let's just go across and go to England, go to Germany, see what everybody's doing, and try to get meetings with these guys and hear what their challenges are vis-a-vis the North American market.
Mm,
And that's where sort of this program, graciously led, by the NKBA, Susie Williford and Bill Darcy at
mm.
the time, who kind of leap of faith, oh, this won't make us any money at all, but we're going to pay you to do years worth of this should be good. Great.
But
We're
see, they're
excited.
visionaries too, right? Like
They they
yeah.
let us go and
Hmm.
play, and it was so insightful. So, and understanding where international brands thought they knew how to tackle this market and then failed. And
Mm,
that's what they didn't want. We didn't want people coming to KBIS or opening up a showroom in New York and then falling flat on their face because they underestimated budgets and marketing needs, and they don't make it because that disrupts the North American specification flow.
hmm.
And that's really where that came from. Coming to KBIS first is a really bad idea. KBIS
Yes.
should be last in that due diligence process.
Interesting,
So
right?
we don't identify and bring brands in. Our goal is to figure out who the brands are that are interested in North America, understand where they're at in that process, haven't been yet, are already trading here, everywhere in between, and now sitting with them and helping them make the best decisions around distribution, around marketing, around product mix. What are the designers actually wanting to buy? What's relevant?
Yeah.
All that stuff. And so NKBA allowed us to create this program, the NKBA Global Connect program, that would help these brands come into the country, talk to advisors like yourself about what is a designer. A lot of countries don't work with a
Right.
design
I've
community.
interviewed a lot of international designers and the business. We have 16,000 wackadoo business models here in North America. And
Yeah.
then I start interviewing them and I'm like, wait,
And
this is completely different.
it's completely different. So, and you don't know that.
Right.
I brought German cabinets over here thinking I knew because I am German and I'm American and I didn't know diddly squat. And neither do they in many cases. So we're really kind of helping them make the right decisions, saving a lot of money, a lot of time, and then presenting them at KBIS and other places throughout the year, including all of our abroad initiatives, to those North American buyers. And not just the designers, but a buyer is also a manufacturer who needs components. So, and it's a distributor. All these guys are buyers and sellers at the same time.
Yeah.
And so we bring, at KBIS, we have the lounge that you were referring to, which is focused on international dialogue, product presentations, but also education for international brands to learn about our market and to meet with designers. We have kiosks where people can come and toe dip without bringing product yet, to just kind of test
see
the
if there's
market,
interest from designers in the U.S., right?
We have a huge delegation tour to KBIS of international representatives. Usually between 80 and 100 international delegates will come to the show. So we manage all of that stuff, and we're about to pass that over to the NKBA for transparency's sake, because after 8 years of consulting,
they can do it.
They can absolutely do that now. Yeah. And it's been a really good year this year, and we can see where that team is now solid and locked and loaded, and I'm very excited for them.
That's awesome. In particular, interesting, all of them were smart. But it was interesting, Kate Bailey, who was there representing Ferguson, when she was like somebody raised their hand, like, well, how do I get my product into Ferguson? And what I appreciated so much, it was not like, oh, well, just give us a call. It was like, she had this whole thing. Like, you have to have a warehouse in the States or whatever all the different things were. God forbid I sit there and say what the criteria was, but it was so tangible. And I remember, and each of the panelists on that particular event literally answered the question with tangible things. And I remember sitting there thinking, if I'm sitting in this audience and I am a German cabinet manufacturer, or I'm the Heideloo people, right? Like we met the Heideloo people, right? Like, it was like, okay, it's do this, do this, do this. Then see if Ferguson will pick you up for massive distribution in North America. But it wasn't just like, hey, Ferguson, they see your Veronika introduced us, I should probably give them my card. It was like, no. Let me tell you exactly what you need. And I thought it was I just thought it was incredible. It was so exciting and fascinating.
It's stuff you wouldn't even know that there is a Kate, let alone what to ask her. And it's thousands and thousands of dollars worth of information that is really shared through this program if you take advantage of it.
The one builder too, the guy that was a builder, big builder in the US. And he said some line like, well, it could be great, but if I can't vet that it's been used, X amount of times, not 5, then I'm just going to tell you, I'm probably not going to take the call, and I'm not going to introduce it to one of my projects.
I need to feel safe. And that goes for every designer. If you're sourcing internationally, and that goes all the way into the, antique and vintage stuff. We do a lot of work with Tama, the antiques diva.
Oh, love Tama.
And you got to make sure that the questions are answered for the North American buyers, for the designers. What happens if it comes broken? How do I get the container thing? If you're an international brand, what is my brand when it comes across? By the time it's marked up 100 times with transport, with distribution channels and everything else, Am I still the same brand I am at home?
Yeah.
Answer, no, you're not. You're probably a luxury brand by the time you get here. That's okay.
Yeah.
Just be aware of that.
Yeah.
And
It
then
was
now act accordingly.
Yeah, and it was funny because a couple of the presenters, when they were the international presenters talking about their products and services, having run Window Works all those years, I know my installer Billy, who was my partner. You know, it's like if he can't put it up, he don't care how great it is.
Yep.
And so that's what I was like, okay, so that sounds amazing, but are these designers, if they specify it, are they going to get their tradespeople here saying no? Like I did the other night with the TV. I'm just like, no, I just won't watch TV. Yeah. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm going to turn this blasted thing on and off 16 times to get it to work.
Yeah.
Vinny did. So, but there are a lot of installers in all of our different areas, whether it's window treatment, tile, plumbing, all of the things that are just like, no, I don't need to learn a new skill. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, exactly.
It's something
a
that's
huge,
to be considered.
Huge learning curve. And we all need it. And we all need to, one of the things I encourage, and I know we have to wrap up, I encourage designers to look at what NKBA is doing internationally. We're going to ISH Frankfurt, the International Plumbing Show, in a week from now, which of course this is going to be dated, but that's all right. Yeah, we will have gone, if I get my grammar right. Then in May, we're going to be at InnerZoom, which is a component parts show in Cologne, Germany. In June, we're going to be at the Installer Show in the UK, helping them create some new content at the show. And then the fall, I'm in Europe all September and October.
Wow.
In German House Fair. Super highly recommend designers consider going to German House Fair, which is a whole nother beast because it's not a trade show. It's just several towns worth of showrooms and factory tours.
Oh,
amazing.
Fun.
Very, very cool. We'll plug you into that too, Luann. Hands down. And then we're going to...
Vinny already doesn't like when you come around the corner.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Vinny. This is going to really hurt because then we have Versailles and Bologna, but the food's good, so I highly recommend that. And then SICAM show in Pordenone, Italy. It's one of my favorite shows. It's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
Private, family-owned. It's a big, small show. It's a small square footage, but it's great for business networking. So I encourage designers to tell us when they plan to be somewhere so we can connect with them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or to ask us to know when we go where so that they can get plugged in.
I love it. I love it. I'll get all of that to put in the show notes so that everybody can understand the calendar of all the things that you guys are doing. And, that's an interesting little thing there for a designer to say, hey, Veronika, I'm going to be there for this show that you're wanting to know. That's awesome to know. So listen to me, my friend, you and I could do this for days and days. Half the time we talk and then we don't record. So today we actually managed to record.
Yes, we did it.
So I appreciate you so much. I think what you do is just incredible for the industry. Your perspectives, the way you think and the way you make connections and the way you create opportunities for all of the clients that you are lucky enough to be your clients, but all the designers who are lucky enough to intersect and the people like me that support the industry. It's just, you're a force of nature, my friend, and I adore you. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. That was a masterclass in courage, strategy, and meaningful connection, right? Veronika Miller is one of those rare leaders who doesn't just build a business, she builds ecosystems. Her work has helped international brands and interior designers and industry associations create bridges where before each was just functioning in their own silo. And you know what I love the most about this? Veronika isn't doing it for applause. She's doing it for impact. Okay? She truly wants to make the industry better. So let's walk through a couple of the aha moments from her conversation today. The first one is fear is normal. The other side of that, is action matters more, right? Veronika said it's not fearlessness that we need to be thinking about. We need to be doing it despite the fear. And I will tell you, after years of hosting events and giving keynotes and moderating panels, I still think, is anybody coming? right? I look out, I come to a panel discussion and I'm like, is there anybody going to be there? And then all of a sudden the seats start to fill in. Okay. So having fear is normal, but showing up and doing the thing anyway is the antidote to it. All right. Now, the second takeaway is mistakes happen and you need to solve, not spiral. I loved it when Veronika said, if you don't like this one, I'll get you another, joking about the cabinetry. Okay. The thing is, it's focus here. It's staying solution focused. And the takeaway is that we cannot let mistakes define us, but we need to figure out how to respond because that will define us. Okay. So shift your internal voice from I messed up to I know how to fix this. I'm just coming off of being in High Point. And I must have heard half a dozen times, designers are problem solvers, right? So that's the lane. That's the superpower. There's always going to be problems. Every project is going to have a problem. But what you're explaining to your consumer is, I'm your problem solver, right? So I love that particular message from Veronika. And then the other thing is that she said is that designers are the opportunity, not the middleman. So she emphasized that in her mind, designers are the value drivers, right? And she wants you to understand that perspective, that you're not an afterthought. You are the engine. And the takeaway from that is to own it and claim your seat at the table. So whether it's a brand pitch that you're doing, whether it's something you're pitching to an architect, a builder, a consumer, whatever it is, lead with your insight, lead with your point of view, not just, if it's a brand, how many followers you have, or, if it's a consumer, like your latest portfolio shot. That's amazing. That's great. But people want to know your insights and how you're going to show up and get the work done. And then the fourth takeaway is system scale creativity. And of course, you've heard me say 1,000 times, if you don't have a documented process, you don't have a business, you have a you. And when Veronika repeated that to me, I had a smile so big because it means that the message is getting out there. All right. So I want you to dream big about your business. I want you to accomplish everything you can, but I want you to understand that you need to back it up with repeatable, sustainable processes, and they need to be documented. All right. So what I would love for you to do as a takeaway for this one is pick one thing this week, whether it's client onboarding, sourcing, collecting your invoices, whatever it is, figure out what steps that you do most of the time, 80% of the time you do it this way, and then document it. And then make sure when you're going through it, that's a repeatable process that you are happy with, that works, you have proven results with it, and that others, if you have others on your team, can do it as well. All right? And then the fifth takeaway is value isn't about simply being busy. It's about being useful, right? So Veronika, how that relates to her is that she doesn't build programs for optics. She builds programs that move the needle for the brand, for you, the designer, for everyone involved. Okay. She's looking for the ways and the places that she can create leverage or maximize existing leverage so that she can make a difference, whether it's in your business or the brand's business. Okay. And this brings me to something that I want you to think about. Before saying yes to your next opportunity, pause and ask yourself, who does this help? What is the win for that particular person? But please, 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 what is the win for you? All right. It's so easy to get caught up in chasing visibility, about saying yes to everything, whether it's a panel discussion, a collaboration, an Instagram opportunity. Okay. But the thing is, just because something looks exciting or prestigious, it doesn't mean it's going to serve your business. Is it going to create more clients for you? Is it something that's going to make it better or easier or more effective for you to do your projects or complete your projects? Is it something that's going to add value to your team, to lift them up, to improve their skills? Okay? So as opportunities come, in the moment, be flattered, be excited, but then start the evaluation process. Is this helping me? If I do this, will this help me grow my business? Is this going to improve something in my business? Will it improve an experience for my client or my team? Is this going to support me in the vision that I have for my company and the team that I'm building, if that's what I'm doing? Okay. So one other thing I want to say about this in evaluating is I understand that we often talk about creating multiple revenue streams, and I'm all for it. But you need to be strategic about it. Launching an online shop or creating an e-commerce, might sound exciting, but it's a massive rabbit hole if you're not intentional about it, right? And it's a huge distraction from running an interior design firm. Maybe you can do it. There are those that do it. Megan Moulton, Bria Hamill, Shay McGee, Amber Lewis, and there's others that do it that aren't nearly as, famous as these women are. But is it something that's going to do something for you? Are you going to sell 3 vases in a year? Or is it really a viable revenue stream? So whatever your idea is for additional revenue stream, please vet it. Please vet it. Just don't do busy work for the sake of doing something, okay? The thing is, not every shiny idea deserves your time. That's all I'm saying. Some of them really do. So do not think I am talking you out of a grand, big idea. I'm just asking you to vet the darn thing is all I'm doing, okay? Because you don't build an excellent business by being busy. You build it by being useful to your clients, your team, and to your vision, all right? Busy is not a badge of honor. Impact is. All right. Now, if today's conversation with Veronika got you thinking or lit a fire in you, if it reminded you that fear is normal, that process is power, and that your voice matters, then let's keep the momentum going. Next week, is it next week as this is coming out? I believe it is. Veronika and I will be together again at the Design Hound Talks Business Spark Conference, May 6th to 8th, 2025 at the Mart during their Wine and Design event. This is Chicago. All right, we will be joined by Jane Horan and the Reverend Kyle Gott for an incredible lineup, and also Jenna Gadusik is going to be there. This is an incredible lineup of talks focused on realignment, inspiration, and getting your mojo back in your business. Okay, this is kind of like a mental reset. Let's just think about where our attention's going. What are we doing? What are true opportunities? Is the next opportunity something you should chase, or is the next thing you're doing should be something where you back down from and maybe create white space? So that's kind of the theme for this conference. Now, because you're part of this interior design community of a well-designed business, you can use the code AWDB50 for 50% off your ticket to this event. Go over to luannigara.com/live-event or check the link in the show notes or in my Instagram links, okay? And then in June, I'm headed to England. June 23rd to 24th, I will be with Rachel Usher and Rick Campos speaking at the Business of Interior Summit in London. This is a 2-day immersive experience created for interior designers who want to lead stronger, smarter businesses. Tickets are available at thebusinessofinteriors.co.uk. Bring a colleague, grab the discounted Design Duo ticket, okay? And then that's the 23rd and 24th, 2025. Then the 24th and the 25th and 26th, I'm going to be in Birmingham, England at the Installer Show. Okay. Again, this one I'm working with Veronika as part of my capacity as the NKBA Global Connect Ambassador. This is the UK's largest trade event for energy, water, and sustainable building with over 30,000 visitors and 800 exhibitors. All right. And don't miss the house, a 2-story passive house standard home built from regenerative materials, a real-time case study in sustainability and innovation. Register free for this trade show at theinstallershow.com and follow along on my email list or Instagram for information and things as they progress over the summer. All right. If you're interested in the Design Hounds Influencer Network, or you want to explore international design shows like ISH in Frankfurt or German House Fair All of the links for these things that Veronika collaborates with are in the show notes. And then we're also going to link past episodes featuring some fabulous interior designers that Veronika has worked with over the years. There's many, many more than what I'm listing now, but the ones that come to top of mind are Claire Jefford, Cheryl Clenenden, and Ariane Belazar, among many wonderful people. Okay, but these ladies have all been on the show, and I think you'll enjoy their episodes. So Veronika, thank you, my friend, for showing up with heart and strategy as you always do to every single thing that I've ever seen you do. And thank you for listening today. Don't wait. Okay, don't let fear paralyze you. Take the next step, even if it's scary, because walking through is better than staying still. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of Luann Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or Luann University, go to luannnigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to windowworksnj.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.